I'm going through old books, and here's one I'm going through. It's about New England. It's an expedition pretty much going across there to talk about the people and the lands, written in 1634. Just so you can see, it's an old book. I love those covers. And it's going to go into the native inhabitants of this area in the 1600s. Jump into this chapter, you got of the Aborigines or Indians northward. It says, first of their stature, most of them being between 5 or 6 foot high, straight bodied, strongly composed, smooth skin, merry countenance of complexion, something more swarthy than the Spaniards, black hair, we'll get into that hair later, high forehead, black eyed, out nosed, broad shouldered people. And this one here, jumping here, says the reason is rendered why they grow so proportionable and continue so long in their vigor, most of them being 50 years of age, before a wrinkled brow or gray haired bewray their age. Who do we know that's basically saying black don't crack in old school English speak, okay? Most of them being 50 before a wrinkle shows up or a gray hair. Then it talks about for when they change their bare Indian commons for the plenty of England fuller diets, it is so contrary to their stomachs that death or a desperate sickness immediately accrues, which makes so few of them delirious to see England. So really, delirious to see England. So what they're saying is these Indians, people's stomachs are different from the YT people's stomachs in that if they were to eat the diet of the England people, the English, then it would cause their stomachs to either go immediately sick or it might even kill them. So that's another description of the people who's opposite of the English. And then on the next page, it says their black hair is natural. So think about it. First of all, you have never heard of anybody with straight hair say, hey, look at my natural hair, ever. Okay? Nobody has ever referred to anybody in this world with straight hair and say, yeah, they got that natural hair. You know what I'm saying? You got a natural hairstyle. Hell no. Their black hair is natural. And let's keep going, though. Yet it is brought to a more jetty color by oiling, dyeing, and daily dressing. Who puts daily oils and all this stuff and daily dress up their hair? That would be us. You'll try to see these people fake it and put let's keep going right here. Sometimes they wear it very long, hanging down in a lock. I'm sorry, in a loose, disheveled, womanish manner. My bad. Others, while tied up hard and short like a horse tail, bound close with a fillet, which they say makes it grow faster. So they do things to try to make their hair grow faster. Who do we know does things to try to make their hair grow faster? All the time. And then the boys being not permitted to wear their hair long till 15 or years of age, and then they must come to it by degrees. Some being cut with a long foretop, a long lock on the crown, one of each side of the head. And so that's why I saw lock. So again, whose hair can really lock up? You see these people all the time. They would either put a braid on two sides of their hair to act like they got some kind of locks. And typically we all know YT people's hair will not lock. The braids will not stay braided. Over 2 days, 3 days, the braids start coming all unraveled, if not the same day. That's how I found out. I remember talking to a YT girl a long time ago, and she told me, I can't. No, she was mixed. And she was like, well, yeah, my hair is just too loose. I can't do braids. I was like, you can't do braids at all? She's like, no, I mean, it's just kind of pointless. I mean, like the next day, it just starts coming apart. And I was like, wow, I didn't think about that. Yeah, y'all's hair really can't do that. And so when you see these Native Americans out here, and they have their hair in those braids, they got to keep rebraiding it every few days, playing games. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes they'll braid it and then they'll put a wrap around it, like they'll wrap some string around it or whatever. And they act like it's decoration. No, that's to keep it there so you don't have to keep doing it every day. Okay? They be playing. Now, this talks about some of their games and activities. It says, but to leave their wars and to speak of their games in which they are more delighted and better experienced, spending half their days in the gaming and lazing. They have two sorts of games, one called Poem and one called Hubbub, not much unlike cards and dice. Who do we know that's been the dice rollers forever? Who do we know that's been playing cards like spades and all these other games forever? You know what I mean? And then right here it says, for their sports of activities, they have commonly but 3 or 4 as football, even though they say they say here that the first American football game, I guess, they say 1869, but that's the official actual game. And even the History Channel kind of gives the same day, 1869. And, they always got to point to some, YT person at some point that did anything. And, maybe this could be more soccer or whatever. Let's take a look and listen. So football, shooting, running, and swimming. Even though they say black folks don't swim, whatever. When they play, I can swim. When they play country against country, there are rich goals, all be hung with wampanoag or something, mohawkies, beaver skins, and black otter skins. It would exceed the belief of many to relate the worth of one goal, wherefore it shall be named. Going further down here, it says, even boy, the ball is no bigger than a handball. So that's why I don't think that this is a soccer, because the ball is no bigger than a handball. And maybe just not as big as a football that we have today. For sometimes they mount it in the air. So sometimes they mount it in the air. It's no bigger than a handball. It's called football, and sometimes they mount it in the air with their naked feet. Sometimes it is swayed with a multitude. Oh, it says with their naked feet. So it could have been still like a small form of soccer, football, whatever. And it says here, before they come to the sport, they paint themselves, even if they were to go, as if they were going to war, in a policy to prevent future mischief, because no man should know him that moved his patience or accidentally hurt him per his person, taking away the occasion of studying revenge. So what they're saying is they would paint themselves just like they paint themselves in football. They don't typically paint themselves in soccer. That's why I still think it's more of a football. But they paint themselves in order to not know who it is that they're playing against. So that way, when they get hurt, somebody doesn't come and do some revenge on somebody later because they mad that they hurt them during a game. Ain't that crazy? Again, this is 1624. They said it was first played, and I'm going to show you one other thing right here that lets you know that it was very similar to football. While the men play, the boys pipe, and the women dance and sing trophies to their husbands' conquest, all being done a feast among their summons or whatever. The women are cheerleaders. Women dance and sing trophies to their husband's conquest. Do you have cheerleaders in soccer? Maybe. I don't know. The fact that I don't know, probably tells you that they're not as popular as the football one. So I don't have enough time left, but for the most part, that right there is the book. I'm gonna go back and show you the name of this book. That right there is the book. And those are the main things. You can take this information from what you think. Do you think the current day Native Americans are the description of these people natural black hair, oil it up, swarthiness, more swarthy than the Spaniards? They play dice games and cards and football games and all these other things that said in there. about it. Do you? And this was in New England, and this is the area they got a map in here before this time stops on me. There's a map area. This is where they explored. There's multiple books like this from multiple different areas. So hopefully I can bring you more info. You know they be playing.